My whole thing right now is about being unstoppable, about really reaching inside and grabbing something that's in there that you might not know is there.
Alrighty, welcome everybody to another episode of the Unleashed and Unstoppable Show. My name is Todd Pierce.
And my name is Dean Martin, and we've got an amazing guest today, and wow, am I so amazed to have her on. She's 19, her name's Mya, she's a musician, and she started her own business already at the age of 19, right? So some of the challenges you could already think of that anyone at that age could come up with, she's already starting to go through. So this is awesome. So thanks for being with us today, Mya.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. So without me going too far into your backstory, just tell our viewers and whoever's watching this a little bit about yourself, where you come from, what's brought you to here today, and we'll go from there, hey?
And before you do that, I just want to chuck in there as well. This episode, right, is going to be all about, what it takes to really get your business going, how to market yourself, how to stand up, even though, because as you're going to share, right, like 19, and she's got big dreams, big hopes, big ambitions, and a lot of people said she couldn't do it. Yeah. So I just wanted to set that frame for everybody watching and listening. So tell us, what's brought you here, what the challenges have been, and where are we at now?
Awesome. Okay, so I graduated from high school a year and a bit ago, and I'm a classically trained pianist and cellist, and I'm studying at the Queensland Conservatorium. So I'm in my second year of study, and when I graduated from school, I was working for other music businesses around Brisbane. And, it always seemed to be the same thing. I'd teach a student, it'd be, it was fun, it was great. And I loved teaching, and I thought, I have these really good qualifications, like I've been learning piano since I was 4 and cello since I was 8, and I've done a lot of my exams, like I know what I'm doing, I know the piano and cello from the back of my hand, so why can't I do these things myself, and how can I make it different, and how can I make it more enjoyable for the student and the teacher? And that's when I kind of thought I would start my own business. And I think the reason it didn't occur to me before is because I assumed upon graduating that, well, I'm a teenager. Like I should be working for other people. I was working in fast food, and for the music for older people, and I decided, why not? Like I cannot think of a single reason why I can't do this myself, and I did. I woke up one morning and I did it. I made the website and
Just started.
Yeah, exactly, and now it's grown incredibly. It's actually amazing to see what's happened. And, I've been featured in magazines, and I've got a blog coming out. They're featuring me in an article. My university's featured me in an article. Yeah, it's just been incredible.
It's really cool. And for those, you might know, because obviously you're just tuning in and watching and listening now, but before we started this podcast, I had a bit of a chat in advance, and something that's really, really cool. There's a couple of things I really love about this. Number one, I love, obviously, that Mya's just doing this, right? Like young entrepreneurialism for me is like magic. But what is really, really cool is that, number one, she's got really good success fast. But number two, she started her business just at the start of COVID-19.
Yeah.
So talk to us about that challenge.
Okay, so that, I'd never had any experience in running a business before. And so starting this business right before COVID hit, I just didn't expect it. I did not expect it at all. I had nothing. I had a few teachers working for me, and I'd promised that it would work out and we'd be fine. And then COVID hit, and then nothing for ages.
Yeah, wow.
Wow. Do you have any background in business, or any do your parents or friends or anything own businesses for you to get experience or knowledge from?
My dad, he owns a business.
Nice.
He's a fencing contractor. He's been running his own business since before I was born. I don't know how long it's been. It's been ages.
Been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while, and my mum's also helped Dad as well. So
nice.
they told me to keep on it. It's okay, and so we had nothing for a while, and then the restrictions started to lift, and then we got everything in at once.
Yep.
And my parents are big help.
So not only did you start the business before the virus hit, you continued the business during the virus and kept it running, right?
Yeah.
while everyone else shut down into their house, into a little ball.
Yep.
I almost crawled up into a ball in tears as well through there. So.
He did. and I want to touch on something here because, Alpha Omega, we do a number of things, and one of those things are business coaching. And during this COVID-19 thing that's obviously happened worldwide, we've seen a lot of people be impacted quite severely by COVID-19. Some people's businesses are shut down. Some people have had severe restrictions occur in their business. So I love that you've started it. Well, you probably didn't enjoy the fact that you started it just as it happened, but in hindsight, right, it has to say something to you about your own ability to stick to something, right? Yeah. So I love that. Now, in respect to why you chose to do this business, what was it about? Because we talked about in advance, we talked about you're very passionate about music, very passionate about this. What kind of made you fall in love with music? What is it about that for you?
So I've grown up with music since I was little. It's before I could even play piano. I was 4 when I started, but even before then, my mum loves music as well. She loves it so much, and I'm classically trained, but I grew up, around all different types of music. I grew up around hip hop and pop and everything, just a bit of everything, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to start music as well. Yep. And learning about all these different genres and seeing, how much my whole family grew to love music so much, and how, there's literally never a silent moment in our house. We're either practicing or we're dancing or listening to something. And just that, glue, I guess, that kept us together. I wanted to kind of pass that on to other people as well. And I thought, I love this so much. It's really great if you could love it as well. And
So what was the problem that you saw? Because in my opinion, people don't just start businesses for no reason. That's just my opinion. Yep. Some people do, and they're the ones that tend to, when things get hard, it fails and they give up. Yep. So it's always good to have an underlying why. So what was the problem that you saw in your industry? And I guess how are you going about doing things differently?
Yeah, so in my uni at the moment, we used to work all for different people, and we used to come in and we would complain about how our boss was mean, or we wouldn't in uni they educate us about what fair pay is and how we should be paid as music teachers. Yep. And a lot of the time they won't pay us enough, right? Or but they'll be overcharging.
This would be other music companies who hire teachers. Yeah, gotcha.
Yes. Small. It wasn't but we have something to say. But a big motivator for me was always fair work. Yep. You get paid fairly for what you do. Mm-hmm. Secondly, I think a lot of people, I realised that I had this really good education, this really good music education, strong foundation, and I really wanted to pass that on, particularly as well. So people, years from now, when they decide to hop on the piano, they can still remember what they've learned from years ago because they had a really strong musical foundation. Yep. And another thing was when I opened the business and when the restrictions started to lift, and actually this was really interesting because it was also during COVID a bit, I got a lot of requests from disabled people. Okay. And a lot of them had been quite overlooked by a lot of music teachers because it was too hard or whatever reason, and they would they sent in messages and they were asking if they could have some lessons, and it was a lot of requests, and I thought, well, this is something that doesn't have enough attention. How can I help these people?
A gap in the market. Nice.
Yeah, exactly. And well, how can I help these people to learn music the way they'd love to? Because I grew up loving music, and it's such a big part of my life. And these, a lot of these people don't have that for whatever reason. So I'd love to, pass that on. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so now, we offer, a lot of our students are part of the special education program. Yep. But it's great.
That's really cool. And obviously, you've got teachers that are now working for you, which is great. What is it that kind of attracted them to come and work with you?
So I'm at the con, as you know, and a lot of those people, they love teaching.
Yep.
They grew up learning piano and cello and whatever else, just like me, and they were looking for work, and I offered what I was doing. And I think because it's always good to be nice to people.
It is.
It certainly is.
Because if you're friendly and they know you're friendly and they know that you respect them, they respect you, they want to come and work for you and they want to help you out.
Yep.
And you've got to really treasure those friendships and those that mutual respect, because without it, your staff are just as important as you are, and without them, you don't have a lot.
Yeah, you got you, and then you're stuck working the business, doing everything, and it's challenging.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's really important. And those, those people that I'm friends with, they're really great, and they're definitely the heart.
Yep. And they love working with you, doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I'd love to think so.
You'd think so, right? You'd hope so.
No, they're great. They always tell me that they're really thankful for the opportunity, and I'm just really thankful that they could come and work for me.
That's
really
really cool.
It's got to be a two-way street at the end of the day.
Oh,
like,
100%.
there's so many times you hear that someone will come home from work and they're like, oh, my boss is an arsehole, or blah, blah, they did this, this, and this. And how much do you hate turning up every day from an employee sort of position? But if you literally have someone that loves and to be around you and just loves having your attention and things, then they're going to be happy no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's,
So we talked about it briefly. I do want to touch on it more because, once again, as people that watch and listen to this, you all know I like to extract as much goodness from people that come on the show. I feel that there are people that, they start their business, they're super passionate, and they get hit with the constant barrage of negativity, right?
Yes.
It's like people that say, you can't do this because blah, and it's funny because it comes from all angles.
Yeah.
Now, you're so lucky in regards to your parents being super supportive, but I've coached people over the years who a part of their the presenting problem in their life is their family, right?
Yeah.
And there are, quite often, I say this all the time, I do coaching, a lot of people are trying to move forward and create the lives that they want. However, they're held back by two things. One are their internal doubts, limitations about themselves. The second thing are the people around them, right? Because if you've got unsupportive family, friends, people that are stuck or cherish the current you, which you might not be happy with, but they don't support the future you, you're always going to be held back to the past. You might take 10 steps forwards, but you take 8 steps back.
Yeah.
It's like you always feel like you're pushing a door that says pull. So I guess where I'm getting at with that is how did you inside, what did you do for yourself to keep your mindset right, your emotions right, to move beyond those kind of things that I'm sure are projected upon you?
So throughout high school, I was the music kid.
Yep.
I was, because I worked hard at what I did. I always practiced.
Yep.
My mum would always make sure that I was, doing my practice quota. And
not allowed to play unless you've done your homework.
Exactly.
Practice, yep.
Exactly. And so I think I had a lot of friends who supported me quite a lot, and same with the business. I have a lot of friends who support me. But yes, there's always those voices or those people who are they always have something to say. They have to question you. They have to challenge you in some way. So I do get a lot of "you're too young." I am 19, but
So what?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people have been like, "Wait, so you run the business, but you're 19. You're too young to do that."
Yep.
And I think in the end, what you have to learn is that people are always going to challenge you, no matter what. No matter what, they're always going to have something to say. And as long as you're listening to yourself, and as long as you genuinely think that what you're doing is right and what you're doing is effective and you can do it, it really doesn't matter what they say. Because you should always be out there to please yourself. You're never going to please everyone, but you can work on pleasing yourself. And that's what I had to learn. It was a big lesson that I had to learn, to stop thinking about. It's hard, but you've got to stop thinking about what everyone else thinks and what they might think, and stop making your life decisions based on what other people might say, and instead just focus on what makes you happy.
I love this. We've gone down a beautiful rabbit hole right now. And this beautiful rabbit hole is in 2020, the fact is that you're not just going to create a company like Coca-Cola or Pepsi that's a nameless brand. Today, and you can agree with me or disagree, we'll see what you think. In my opinion, I think that today people want to do business with a person. Like they want a face to a brand, and like I feel like branding and business are intimately connected today. And what you've just said, for those that are listening and watching who may have missed it, is that like if you're afraid of what everybody thinks, then basically, and this is my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, but like in my opinion, if you're afraid of what everybody thinks, you won't be successful in business today at all. Because part and parcel of being in business today, I think, is you have to put yourself out there.
Yes.
Which means you have to subjugate yourself to all the twerps online that are going to try and tear you down.
Yep.
And there's lots, right?
There's so many.
So freaking many. So I really like that. And anyone that is watching right now that is either at the start of that journey or is, into their journey but is just getting hit with criticism, that right there is essential feedback, right? You can't please everyone, so why bother trying?
Yeah, exactly. Take the risks. If you're not willing to take the risks, then what are you willing to do,
So let's talk about taking the risks. So you've taken the risks.
Yes.
What are some of the rewards that you've gotten so far?
Many. I think something that I will acknowledge that I do have is that I still live at home.
Yep. That's cool.
So I'm not relying on the income of the business to get my next meal. I rely on my parents for that. But
So what time's dinner? Just so I can work out when I'm coming around. Mum's a good cook.
Oh, yeah. I'm a terrible cook. My mum's the best cook. But yeah, so I took a massive risk in that being a teenager, growing up, I'm sure, other things are harder, but, it is hard being a teenager, being surrounded by, a lot of judgment, a lot of people judge you. You judge yourself. Everyone goes through that, teenage phase.
That awkward phase, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And in doing this business, I opened myself up to a lot of criticism, particularly because I am surrounded by a lot of other musicians.
Yep.
And, not everyone's going to receive it well for whatever reason. And opening yourself up to this criticism can really take a hit on your self-esteem.
Yep.
So a risk I took, I'd say, would be upon starting this business and really publicizing it and putting myself as the face of it, opening myself up to a lot of judgment. That was a risk I took. But, upon taking risks, you also
get rewards.
Exactly. And I've gotten a lot of success from it. Like I mentioned before, I was featured in Style magazine, which I think is a great reward. Cool. Even this podcast as well. Like, this is a great reward.
Yep.
Well, some might say this is probably the best podcast in Australia. But yeah. So.
Yeah, it is a great reward. And, my uni itself had acknowledged me as well. They thought I was doing great. It's good to get validation from the university.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and I've got other things coming out too. It's just really great.
Cool.
Yeah.
So obviously, and this is very, very interesting, right? I often say that, we're always making, this is particularly for people that are a little bit younger. Me, I'm old now. I've got 2 kids, and I'm as an old man, right? I'm getting in on an age. I've got grazies, can't see them. But I'm always saying it's particularly relevant for people that are a little bit younger, right? Is that like we're always making sacrifices.
Yeah.
Like you either make a sacrifice, well, I'm going somewhere with this, but like we always make sacrifices in life, right? And you're either sacrificing yourself now for a reward in the future, or you're sacrificing yourself later when you still have to do that thing anyway. And what I particularly like about your story and what you're doing is that you're 19 and there are plenty of other things other 19-year-olds are doing that you would have to say no to. To make your business work, right? Mm-hmm. Because, and this, I want to remove the illusion that you can particularly grow a successful business whilst still going to all the parties, being the cool kid, doing all that stuff. So talk to me about that sacrifice.
Well, I don't go out anymore. But it's okay because I'm not the most, party person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go out every now and again. But ever since planning this business, and it is like a full-time job.
Yeah.
And I'm also at uni as well. So running a business...
No time.
Exactly. Literally none. I don't sleep anymore. But yeah, I don't go out often. I went out the other day for the first time in ages. And it is a sacrifice that I've made, but I'm okay with it because I'm happy with what I'm doing.
Yep.
And I think it'll benefit others a lot as well.
Nice.
My
That's that passion thing.
Exactly.
Yep.
I love what I'm doing and I'm fine with not going out.
Yep.
I would like to go out more, definitely, but I think it is a sacrifice that I've made and I'm happy with it.
Yep.
And I think later on, when I can, make this, when this business becomes something greater.
Yep, and there's leverage in the business and you can kind of
Exactly.
free up some time.
Exactly. I can pull back a bit and I can, go out where I wanted to. I can travel. I can do other things. And the hard work will have paid off.
That's it. Well, if you think about it, 5 years' time, which is usually a good time frame for any business sort of to get massive success, is like you're only still 24. Man, when I was 24, I think I was still... Yeah.
No, you'll be 24.
You'll be 25 years' time,
Sorry.
right?
Yeah. So
That's huge.
Right.
it is really cool. It's like pick your poison. What sacrifice do you want to make? And I love that you're doing it right now. I'm an entrepreneur, so like I see other entrepreneurs doing their thing. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
I love it. But the people that, and it comes back full circle. It's like people that aren't entrepreneurial, people that aren't business minded, they don't get it. And like, if you're watching, listening, like, there are people that will make you feel bad for chasing your passions. There'll be friends that don't share the entrepreneurial spirit that go, oh my God, you don't hang out with us anymore.
Yep. Oh, I've gotten that. Yes, definitely. A lot of people, it's even people who are particularly close to me as well, and I wouldn't have expected it from them. Yeah. I think if you've got, even if it's like a group of, 3 people even who are your true supporters and they really care about you and they'll be there every step of the way.
Yep.
If you've got, even if it's one person, even if you just got that support, no matter what other people say, even if you did think they were close to you and they don't support you anymore or whatever, if you've got that one person, I think you'll be fine.
100%.
Yeah.
Like people come and go all the time, you'll find out, and it's the ones that actually really matter and like to see you succeed are the ones that are going to be the most important in your life.
Yeah.
Like there'll be people drop off all the time, and it's absolutely crazy. Like Todd and I, it's usually we didn't have our most support from our family, which is meant to be the closest people to you, right? But you can still love someone and not have to have them around all the time or listen to their opinions or advice.
It's a cycle of growth at the end of the day for those that are watching. Like as you grow and you evolve, what happens is sometimes people come with you and sometimes they don't, and that's okay. Yeah. I see people feel like a sense of guilt that they're growing, and this is like I call this growth guilt. It's like they feel guilty for their growth because sometimes there's friends or even family sometimes that aren't growing as well and they feel bad. But I'm going to digress from that because that's kind of left center from what we're talking about. But what I'm hearing very, very strongly is that you've got like a really, really strong why inside, real passion for what you do. And because you've got that, plus you've got some good support around you, that makes it much easier to navigate the bullshit, right?
Yes.
The lack of a better word.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So guys, pay attention. Get something you're passionate about. Don't try to build something you don't like.
Yes, 100%.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So we talked about before we started the podcast that one particular thing you are focusing on, which is very different to anybody else, is you got a high focus on technology. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, so I've grown up around it. I did IT in school.
Nice.
I love technology. In my family, I'm the IT.
You fix the router.
Kid. Exactly. I turn it on and off.
Yes.
But yeah, so I love technology. I love it a lot, and I think I use it to the best of my ability. It's there for a reason, and I use it. And I'm trying to, now that I've learned a lot about it and I've experienced it and I've put it into my business, I'm trying to figure out and think how I can use what I've got to further enhance it.
Nice.
So whether that be, writing a program and using technology to enhance it, or using technology for things like online lessons.
Yep.
It's definitely an idea in development, and I'm working on currently pairing with a few other people my age who are into technology, and they've got a business for themselves.
Nice.
And partnering up with them and figuring out how we can use technology to make our business better.
To deliver your services better, because you talked about, you know, reaching rural areas where, you know, access to music lessons isn't as easy.
Yep.
So obviously, you know, you kind of fill a gap there with, you know, bringing technology in.
Yeah.
And you also talked about, you know, creating courses and stuff too, so people get that kind of learning in their own time as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it's definitely something that's very much in the works. But using, I think, even using things that, you know, everyone's got a laptop or a computer of some sort. Well, and just being able to use our technology and kind of match it with their technology and figure out a way that they can have the most effective learning they possibly can from their home.
Nice. That's really cool. And I think, bringing there's a couple of industries that need to be brought into 2020, I think. So it's really, really cool what you're doing in respect to that. Now, I'm going to lead into something now that's going to be probably a big point of discussion right now, I feel, because, you know, we've talked about the fact that you had risks that you encountered. There was, you know, challenges you had to overcome, and then you've got success as well. But what we haven't discussed is the thing in between there, the thing that bridges the gap from the risk to the reward. So let's talk about, like, you know, you putting yourself out there, you know, putting yourself behind the brand, and what that looked like, the challenges that were there, and just, talk to us about that, because branding's an important thing, because you wouldn't be getting these inquiries right now without first putting in the work. So talk to us about that.
A big thing that I did, thank you to my high school for teaching me this, but a big thing that I did was I made sure to kind of market myself in a way that appeals to my target audience.
Nice.
And a lot of people, I've noticed what a lot of people do is they'll see, even if it's like a job opportunity, say someone's applying for a job, a lot of the time the job will say something like, I don't know, looking for someone to work in fast food for us, like you were saying before, like flipping burgers.
Come flip burgers.
Yes,
Apply
exactly. You know, needs experience, right? And this person will come, you know, say they have experience, and they'll say, but they don't have experience in flipping burgers, though. They have experience in, I don't know, putting drinks in the fridge, like
writing on paper.
And they don't appeal to the actual job offer. They just kind of put in, you know, whatever they want. And that's something that I learned that's really important. When I was, even when I was talking to you guys as well, like you were saying, you know, the podcast is about, you know, what you were saying the podcast was about, like a business and business experiences and
mindset and all that kind of good stuff.
Exactly. And well, I thought, okay, well, how has my business and how can I tell a story about my business and my mindset and experience and not just talk about whatever I want. So appealing to your target audience is so important. It's a massive thing, and I value it so much. Even when I was interviewed by Star Magazine, a lot of what they said they were looking for, you know, they're looking at inspiring stories throughout COVID-19. And I thought, well, how is my story inspiring, and how can I tell them and get them to believe what I believe? And that definitely, what I did was I made my statement and I made it in a way that was true and from a perspective that they would like. And I backed it up. You always have to make sure you back up what you say. I backed it up, and I told them, you know, how I'd gotten to where I was and what I was doing. And, you know, when they thought, you know, that they really liked my story, I delivered. And when I delivered, it was, you know, when they asked questions, I answered them to the best of my ability. I was confident about what I was saying, and I believed everything I was saying. And, that's you know, an example of how I used it, and it was, it's great. It's definitely.
I honestly love what you're saying right now. It's funny. I've got a program called the AO Business Growth Accelerator, right? And the foundational aspect of what I teach in business is that there are three, I call them meta principles. So meta being above, like high level principles that govern all business success. In my opinion, this is just my opinion. If you disagree, well, oh well. I don't need you to agree with me. These are my thoughts. I think there are three big things that matter, and you've just talked about a couple of them. directly and indirectly at the same time, but I'm going to break them up. There are three things that matter in my opinion in business. There are, number one, your who. So who is your perfect client, right? You've just described that there. Who is my target market? Who is my who? Who is the people when I work with them? They're going to set my heart on fire, and I'm going to set their hearts on fire. There's synergy, there's gel, there's flow.
Yeah.
So knowing that one clearly, that's really, really good. And then what you started talking about too, there's positioning. So how do I position myself, my business, my message, who I am, what I do, what I'm about in a way that when my ideal perfect client hears me, it's irresistible. Yeah. It's like this fireworks going off, right? You just talked about the positioning there too. And then the third aspect is the offer, which is what a lot of people don't, in my opinion, understand. When most people think about offers, and I hear this a lot, they often just think the product. But I don't know if you can see up in Dean's put the whiteboard in the way, but there's a thing, we teach the 8 pillars of an unbeatable offer. Product is one of them, right? So, and you've got, just from hearing you right now, you've like ticked the boxes in a number of the pillars, which is why you're getting that traction, which is fabulous. But like with your branding, like if you were to kind of give some red hot tips to people watching and listening right now that are either in business or, want to kind of get themselves out there more, what would your tips be in regards to marketing yourself and branding?
My number one tip above everything would be confidence.
Yep.
I always think about it like this. I was saying this to my mum before, but if two people walk into a room, right, they both want this job. And person one is so prepared. They know everything they need to know, but they are unsure of themselves and they're kind of, questioning their own judgment. Mm-hmm. Person two knows literally nothing. They know kind of the basis and the foundation of the job offer and what it requires, but they don't know much other than that. Person two, because they are so confident and they know what they're doing, well, to a degree, they automatically have the upper hand. And it's because what they say, they're so confident in themselves, they believe what they're saying, and that is something that other people like confidence, and other people want to hire someone who's confident, or they want to invest in someone who's confident rather than person one.
Who's competent. Confidence over. So my wife, who probably is going to watch this as well, she always says, she goes, Todd, you've got more confidence than competence. I love you.
I'll agree.
But it's what you're saying is that I by the way, I disagree with you, Shani. I feel like I'm competent in many areas. But what you're saying is so true, right? Confidence needs to shine bright because people are attracted to it like a moth.
Yeah, exactly.
But in your opinion, though, like, are people born with confidence, or is it something they learn? Is it something that, like, because I hear it a lot, especially with coaches coming in brand new, that like, I just don't have the confidence to put myself out there. I don't have the confidence to finish my homework or blah, blah, blah. So what's your opinion in that?
I was not born with confidence, but it was something that I had to learn, and it was difficult to learn, but I realized that I'm good at what I do, and I know that what I'm doing is, I was person one. I knew that inside, I guess, that I knew what I was doing and I was good at what I was doing, but I never really had the confidence to put myself out there and to do what I love to do.
So what changed?
The biggest thing behind me was my mum telling me that
Your mum sounds amazing.
My mum always told me that I can. My sister was always person two. My sister's very confident.
Yep.
But she always told me that, I'm good at what I do, and I inside I know that I'm good at what I do, and I have the qualifications to do what I want to do. But I started small.
Yep.
And I marketed myself to my family, and I practiced a lot.
Yep.
And I took it bigger, slowly. And that really helped me. I was always very introverted throughout school, and I had to learn, particularly because I'm in the music industry, which is very social and it's all about networking. I did have to learn to become a conversationalist and become, need to
get on a podcast and talk to two people you just met and a camera that's right there, which scares most people shitless.
Yeah, exactly. It's stuff like that, and practicing is a big help. And I think like what you were saying, starting off with small and kind of learning confidence. Yeah, anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. It's just
I like what you said there. You said two things. Number one, you talked about like concept validation with your product. You know, it's funny. Like people don't realize this, by the way, when they meet Dean and I, they don't realize he's actually the extrovert and I'm actually introverted. I know, but most people don't get this. I actually would rather be alone to recharge my batteries than with other people. Like I was introverted, because my childhood wasn't necessarily the best, and I kind of shut off to the world as I grew up. But that's a different story. But I had to learn how to be extroverted. So like I get up and I do stage shows and I can do 13-day events. But like after that stage, I'm like, do not talk to me. Leave me alone. Go home to my wife and just like. So I like to share the story, and I love that you have a similar kind of experience. Is that like you don't have to be naturally extroverted to be extroverted.
Yes.
It's a learned trait.
Definitely.
And they say it all the time, what you practice most in private becomes something you naturally do in public.
Yeah.
So you have to practice the thing. And the second thing you said, which I really love, is, you said you started small, you had your idea, and then you started to share with family, right? Which for me is like concept validation.
Yeah.
And then you took it out a degree, right, to the community, and that would have given you more validation. And now we're at the point where you're starting to get market validation, where people are saying, yes, yes, yes. They're inquiring, they want to work with you, and you're scaling and you're growing, which is so cool.
Yeah.
But it's a journey, right?
It 100% is a journey. And for me, it was pretty fast, but my whole music journey was very slow. But this business journey has been fast, but it started with me waking up with an idea, and I thought, oh, should I share this? Should I just forget about it?
Yep.
But I shared it with my family. I shared it with my mum, dad, and my sister.
Nice.
And then my grandma. And, they all thought it was a great idea. And then it got bigger and bigger and bigger until, where it is now. And I hope it gets bigger and bigger.
100%. Well, I got to say, with your passion, with your intellect and your vision, I feel like you're going to be unstoppable, right? The only way you won't succeed is if you give up.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which is really, really cool. It's funny. So, you shared it with the small circle and expanded out, which is really cool. And so if you were to, because we are kind of etching towards that hour-long mark, I feel my inner sense is like saying we're approaching it. My little spider senses are like, we did that mark there. So if you were, because like there's people that watch this here that want to start businesses. There's people that watch this that are in business and maybe, they don't have the fire lit anymore. Mm-hmm. So if you, and I love this, and once again, you're young, you've got different, I look at youth as different glasses, not inexperience. Experience is bullshit. See, I've never been good at working for people, all right? I am naturally entrepreneurial.
Yep.
Which is why I probably never could hold a job. But I've had businesses for the last decade and I've always done well there. Yeah. And I still find it ridiculous how there are a number of jobs and things like that, and people experience this all the time where, as you said, it's like, apply here, but you need all this experience. Well, how do I get the damn experience if you can't give me the chance to get the experience? Exactly. So I guess if we were to kind of wrap this podcast up and you were to give some cool tips and advice for people that either, number one, want to get out of a job that maybe they're stuck in but they don't know how to do it, or number two, they want to start a business and kind of get that ball rolling, what would you kind of say to those people there in regards to mindset and kind of action steps?
Just do it. 100%. If you
just Nike.
Yeah, if you want to start a business, or if you're in a job that's making you unhappy, just stop it. Because if you don't wake up and just decide to not do it anymore or do it, you won't do it.
Yep.
It's not something that you kind of say, okay, well, I'll do it for the next month or whatever, and then I'll stop, or maybe I'll do it in the future. If you keep saying maybe I'll do it, then you just won't do it.
Mañana, tomorrow.
So when you started this, did you have a plan B or a backup plan, or did you just have that one plan? It's like, no, this is it. This is all I'm doing.
I just thought of it and I was like, I'll do it. Yep. I never really had. I think partially the reason why I didn't have a plan B is because I wasn't going to rely on this for my income, but I just woke up and I just started it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say before. My brain was going somewhere, then it stopped, hit a brick wall. I'm just like, I'm going to talk about something else. And it came back to me. So you got to let your unconscious mind relax sometimes. That's what I'm going to say. There's a metaphor that I love, which says, which axe swipe was it that cut down the oak tree? Was it the first one or the last one? For people that have done my trainings and events, y'all know this because I say this in all my live trainings.
Was it the First one or the last one?
It's a great question, isn't it? But I think it represents the journey of business success marvelously.
Yeah. Okay. I want to say the first one.
Yeah. So it's the first one and it's the last one.
Oh.
I'll tell you why. So it wasn't the last one that cut down the tree or the first one, really. It was every single one that happened. Pretty cool, eh?
Yes.
You got a new metaphor for yourself now.
There you
So
go,
it's cool though, because people don't see all the practice that you did. People will see the tip of the spear, which is you getting great success right now.
Yep.
And that can be daunting for people when they look at you and go, oh my God, she's 19 and I'm like 40 and like she's got a life so much better together than even I do. How could I ever start? There's that kind of person. Then there's the people that are like, they're your age and like, oh my God, I could never get myself together as well as Mya can. And it's like, well, no. Which axe cut down the tree? Was it the first one or the last one? It was all of them.
Yep.
So it's always too late to wait, but it's never too late to start. You just have to get the ball rolling.
Exactly. That was like when I would go and perform, or when I do performances. Everyone always sees the finished product, and they always go, "How can you play so well? You must be gifted." But it's not that I'm gifted. It's just because I put in hours and hours and hours and hours of work beforehand, and that's what no one sees, like you were saying.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Nice. All right, guys. So I hope you've loved this episode. I've had lots of fun. Like
awesome.
it's not very often, but I come across people that I genuinely. I'm naturally introverted. I naturally just don't even like people. So just gonna put that out there. So it has been really, really cool chatting to you. We had a nice little synergy going here. So if people want to be able to connect with you, reach out, follow you, where can they find you on social media?
I'm on Instagram because still quite young. I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook, Mya Whatson. It's always the same username. My business is on Instagram and Facebook as well at Treble Notes Music.
Cool. So anybody, if you yourself are interested in obviously, following Mya, seeing her journey, check her out. If you're into music, now two layers. Number one, I'm assuming that you're growing, so you're always going to be happy to speak to teachers, yeah?
Always.
So if you're like teaching or anything like that, reach out because Mya's got a really, really cool program. And and if you want to learn music, right, but you want to do it in a new, better way, then once again, reach out to Mya. Anyway, guys, we're going to wrap up this podcast here. I hope it's been good. Hit like, hit subscribe, chuck a love heart. Actually, you know what? Chuck us your best gift down below if you're watching this on
new technology.
social media. And once again, tag anyone that you think would love listening to this episode. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye now.